Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Avenger Pretenders. That's right, it's Monday night, folks. We got the Geek and the Redneck, JT and Sully here to walk you through episode 4 and 5 of Miss Marvel. Sit back. Actually, before you sit back, get your favorite beverage, get your adult beverage, get your popcorn or whatever it is you're going to need, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. It's
Sweet.
Wonderful, isn't it? Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. I'm Sully, and with me is my right-hand man, JT Hollis. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. And the countdown has begun. We are under 30 days.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
What is today? Today's the 11th? Yes, the 11th. So 21 days.
Wow. Times are coming quick.
What, there was 3 weeks?
That's for sure. That's for sure. Today we will be discussing not one, but 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. We weren't able to do it last week, obviously, because of the 4th of July holiday. So, yay to that. And now we're going to kick it out and rock it out and do whatever we need to, because the episode 4, Seeing Red, was the title of it. Seeing Red. And very interesting episode, to say the least.
That's putting it nicely.
It is putting it nicely a little bit. We do see some more.
There was a whole lot of shit going on in this episode, and if you missed 30 seconds of it, you got lost.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it was hard to keep up, because it really wasn't.
That's exactly what Kay said. It was hard to keep up.
Really?
Yeah. There's so much jumping back and forth and this and that, and
yeah,
especially when you're trying to
jumping
keep up
back
with all the information and everything that came flying at you in this issue.
Yeah, and there was a lot going back and forth, but there was also a lot. I don't want to say 100% answers, but more backstory than anything else. And we start the episode off where Kamala is sitting on a plane with her mother, heading to Pakistan.
I feel sorry for the dude in the middle.
Yeah, that was.
I feel sorry for the dude in the middle, because,
rough.
The one place in the world that you do not want to be is sitting between a mother
and her child
and a daughter. Not just a child, but a daughter.
Well,
especially when said mother and daughter are fighting.
Yes. That's the one thing you have to understand, folks. They were fighting from the previous episode. And it was
she was basically grounded for life.
Yeah.
For ruining her brother's wedding.
Yeah. And obviously she's still angry with her, because she says to Kamala that the only reason why we're going is because your grandmother insisted that we go. And you're right. The guy in the middle was, I don't want to say he was upset.
No, at the beginning of the conversation, he was okay.
Yes.
But then they got into unless the grounding doesn't apply over international waters, and maybe we should call a truce. And he's just kind of sitting here going, I'm going to hide behind my newspaper again.
Gonna put my magazine up and hide. Just gonna, do what they say.
Right.
Once they get to Pakistan, they're greeted by Kamala's cousins, who she hasn't seen since they were young. And obviously, they're teasing her because they're older cousins. Older cousins do that to younger cousins. Anybody who has cousins knows it happens. There's nothing you can do about that. It just happens. And they finally get to the grandmother's house, and they're talking about all the different paintings in the room. And Kamala is in awe with the artistry. Because now we know where Kamala gets her art from. Her grandma.
Right.
Which is a good
I
thing.
love. I got to go back to when they got off the train and they came out of the entrance, and her cousin put it's like a Hawaiian lei. They put that around her neck, and she's kind of looking at like, the hell is this? Am I in Hawaii?
What is this? Like, this is not our
I had to laugh at that though, because she's like confused.
Well, from there, Kamala's talking with her grandmother, and she takes the bangle out. Now, at one point in time, I'm saying to myself, I'm pretty sure that when JT sees this, he's gonna go, yes, we're gonna get some backstory on the bangle.
I was exactly that. I was ecstatic. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we're finally going to learn something about the freaking story behind this bangle other than the bullshit that they've been teasing me with.
Yes.
And I want to say hi to Carol, who just joined us in the chat room.
Hi, Carol. You came at a good point.
Yes.
Well, from there, her grandmother explains that she's what's called a jinn.
Yes.
That she is a jinn. And for those that don't know, it is a supernatural being. And they are feared by the Islamic ideology in the Marvel Universe. So...
And my question is why? Why are they feared by the Islamic?
Well, because they're from a parallel universe, really. If you think about it. They've even stated that they're from a parallel universe. The episode before, where the other jinn are going after Kamala at the wedding, trying to get the bangle so they can go home.
Right.
And in this point in time, this is where, I'm not going to lie, things are actually getting interesting when it comes to the series. And part of it has to do with the fact that Kamala's grandmother says that everything that happened with the partition saved her and the family, which was a good thing, which was a very good thing. And obviously she goes to bed, and they wake up the next morning to her cousins making fun of her again.
Was it the next day, or was it actually that afternoon?
It was the next day.
Because I know when they arrived at the train station, it was night.
Right.
And they got in the car and they drove way the hell out into the middle of nowhere.
It was still during the day.
But, well, that's just it. When they left the train station, it was dark.
Yes.
It was nighttime. When they got to the house, it was daytime.
I don't remember that.
Well, because remember, when they're at the train station, before they got in the car, before Grandma goes, can we go home?
Yeah.
It was nighttime. They got in the car and they drove. And the next scene is when they get to the house and they get out of the car, and the mother, not the grandmother, but the mother Kamala says, has it always been this big? And then the mother says, it needs a coat of paint. And Grandma says, but it takes away all the nostalgia.
Yeah.
That was the next morning. So that's it.
Well, but
the way I'm seeing the timeline is that's the next morning. So she fell asleep and she took a nap, and they came and got her.
Yeah, but you're confusing the train station for the airport, because she doesn't get to the train station until they go out to breakfast.
Sorry, yeah, they come out of the airport. They come out of the airport.
Out of the airport.
The car, they go, and it's morning when they get there.
Yep, because the train station hasn't even happened yet.
I was thinking airport.
You were.
But brain was, we were...
Your brain is all twisted.
Well, what little I have, and that's always twisted, according to Kay. Anyway,
So from there we get into the cousins waking her up. They're going out to eat and so on and so forth, and they go to this place where apparently you're not allowed to wear jeans.
yeah, the country club.
The country club where you're not allowed to wear jeans. Yes, I mean it happens.
Bastard.
You know, country clubs have a dress code, uh, even in Pakistan apparently. Even in Pakistan.
Right.
So, afterwards, they go to the market. They're showing Kamala around a little bit, and she says she wants to go to the train station and see the train station. Mostly because of the visions.
Why do you want to go to the train station? Well,
Well,
that's where Grandma first came here from.
Because of the visions that she was having in the episode before, where she saw the woman on the train, and her grandmother saw that same vision. So,
but she didn't tell the cousins that.
Right, no, she didn't tell the cousins that, just that she wanted to go to the train station. And what she does is her cousins leave her because they don't want to go. And
they had to meet friends.
Yeah, they had to meet friends. And she goes off on her own, and a stranger takes her picture and offers to give her the picture for 1,500 rubies. And what she does instead is gives him more and asks for directions to the train station.
And gets extremely crappy directions to the train station.
You have to go to the left.
You go left, and then you go left again, and then you go right. Just small right.
Small right, then another left. It was all over the place when it came to the directions.
That was, and no offense, but it was like trying to get directions from somebody who's extremely retarded.
Yeah, somebody who just wanted to send her on her way and not give a crap about anything, which happens.
Pretty much.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets to the train station finally, and what she does though, when she gets there, she actually puts her mask on. She puts her mask on to protect her identity, so to speak.
Well, and Kay asked that specific question. Why did she put the mask on? And I was kind of wondering, I mean, I could understand the protect the identity thing, but that was thrown out the window because she was already under surveillance, according to the signage, which this is what you've done to me from doing this show, and this is all your fault.
My fault?
All your fault, because I was rewatching episode 4.
Okay.
And she turns and she sees where it's blocked off because they're doing the renovation, right? I thought, well, you know what? There might be something important on that freaking sign.
Okay.
Where it says being, under renovation and everything.
Yes.
I actually stopped and rewound and froze it.
Did you?
So that I could read all of the sign.
Really?
Because I'm sitting there going, there's going to be an Easter egg under this sign. And there wasn't. There was not. The one time I actually put the effort in to find one, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, there was really nothing. There wasn't a lot of huge Easter eggs, so to speak, when it came to this.
No, very few.
Which perfectly fine, perfectly fine. There doesn't always have to be an Easter egg,
right.
So that does work to our advantage sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And of course, what I'm talking about when it comes to this is, and I'll just do a little bit of a transition here to show you the picture. This is what we're talking about. She gets attacked by somebody with knives, and obviously she's got one of the knives in her hand right now in this picture that we're showing for those watching on Twitch. And you can see that she's ready to fight. She's ready to protect herself. She's ready to do what she's got to do. She's got her mask on, and she's got her New Jersey Avenger Con shirt on as well. So I always thought that was pretty cool that they keep tying things back to that first episode, and that's kind of a good thing that they're doing that. It really is. It's it's one of those things where you're like, all right, I see what's going on here, and going from there, you know? So, in a lot of ways, we like this.
Mhm.
We
Well, and
like
like you said, everything ties back to Avenger Con because that is where Miss Marvel started.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's where she actually, she found out that she has powers. That's where she discovered everything. I love one of the comedy points for me that I really, really enjoyed about this episode is actually the scene that you're showing right there.
Yep.
Because he threw the knife and she put her hand up in defense and she caught the knife in the palm of her hand. You can actually see a little circle there where the knife was.
Yes.
And she kind of goes like this and looks at it and goes, cool.
And just pulls
And
it
that's
out.
where I laughed at that. That was funny to me. And then, of course, the attempted throwback.
Yeah, which did not work at all.
No, she looked like, a 6-year-old trying to throw a baseball.
Yeah. And
Pretty
that's okay
much.
too. It is. It's okay too. But it was just one of those things that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And how they tied it together. Because you could see, it's like, she doesn't have full control over her powers. And
Right.
for some reason, it looks like, even though her powers are bending light, that no matter what hits it, it's either going to shatter or it's going to be lodged in there, and you're not going to know what to do with it next.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I do like it. There's no saying that I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Well, to me, it's just neat how she's slowly discovering more and more about her powers, and the fact that she doesn't actually have to think about what she wants to do. I mean, putting the hand up was just a defensive measure,
right?
And the powers did their thing basically, and put a shield around her hand and caught the knife.
Yeah, and
so it's still neat how she, they show her learning still.
They do, and that's the beauty of it, is that they are showing that she's doing what she needs to do while keeping the story moving, which, as of late,
that's
has
vital.
been very hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to some of these series that we've been watching.
Yeah, we've run into several of them that have timing issues.
Yes,
big time.
Absolutely.
And this one kind of started out that way, though.
It did. The first 3 episodes were a little slow.
The timing was there, but it wasn't quite right. And, now they're a lot better at where their timing is with everything. In this episode, in episode 5, it actually gets even better.
And we're slowly getting there. Slowly. Yep. And I mean that in probably the nicest way possible. We're slowly getting there.
Right.
So from there, obviously, we've got someone attacking her with knives, where they decide to have a little bit of a scuffle, and turns out that this is someone from the Red Daggers. And the Red Daggers in the Marvel Universe, if you don't know who the Red Daggers are, it's okay, I tell you. They are a group of warriors that are actually... What's the word I'm looking for here? Their purpose is to stop the Jinn from, 1, getting back to their world because they were outcasted, and 2, from stopping their world from taking over the real world. Because apparently that's what's going to happen.
Well, it could.
It could potentially happen. So we see that wonderful scuffle going on, and that's where the person says that my name's Kareem and I'm going to bring you to my leader, Waleed. And they start talking about the different dimensions, including Noor dimension, which is where the Jinn are from.
Mhm.
And
Well, I like that he asked, "How did you get the bangle from Einid?" Or I can never remember her name.
Aisha.
Aisha. How did you get? How did you get the bangle from her?
Yep.
You know, and that's when they realized, oh wait, this is a descendant. I need to take her to my boss.
Yep. Need to take her
Yeah.
to my boss and let's have some fun with this. At the same time, though, Damage Control has a Supermax facility. It's not the Raft. And if you haven't seen Captain America Civil War, you should know what the Raft is, including Jessica Jones, where they mention the Raft. It's a Supermax facility in the ocean. This one is not in the ocean. And yeah, we see Cameron, Najma, Faria, Salim, and Adam all being brought through the hallways of the prison to go to their cells to be pretty much locked up forever, and they break free.
Above their head. That was a pretty unique thing. With the way that they moved them through the hallways and everything, with their wrists cuffed.
Yeah.
Above their head, and they had a chain that ran up to
right along the pipe.
A guide. Yeah. I thought that, I've never seen that before. I was like, you know what? I kind of like that.
Yeah. It works. It works.
I noticed little weird things like that.
Okay.
But I miss all the other shit.
but you know what? That's fine because you still see what's happening. And at the same time, Najma orders the rest of the group to leave Cameron because he made his decision at the wedding to help Kamala. So they're deserting him now. And from there, it cuts back to Kamala talking to her grandmother and how she wants to have that talk. That wonderful talk. And it's funny because after the talk, she meets her cousins and their friends, and one of them is Kareem, the Red Dagger. So they go from there and they start talking about the food, and she's a little weary of the food because the food's a little too spicy for her. And it turns out that she actually likes the food, which is marvelous. I thought it was a really good way to show that even in that culture, teenagers are going to be teenagers. They're going to chill out. Mm-hmm. They're going to have fun. They're going to, and if you notice, it's outside of city limits.
Right. Well, the line that I liked was when they were still in the hideout.
Yep.
And she says, "Why is the sweet and sour sauce red?" It's like, because that's the way it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be that way, you silly gooses.
Typical American.
While that's happening, Kamala's grandmother and mother are at the house, and her mother is cleaning, driving her grandmother nuts.
Cleaning rampage. Yep.
And she says, "Why is it so messy?" And she starts to massage her mother's legs because they hurt. She's old. And that's when she suggests to her grandmother to move to America. She doesn't want to, clearly. We know she doesn't want to. That's not her place. It's not her life. But
and
the offer's
it was what she said, though, was that, you ran away to the other side of the world to get away from me.
Yeah.
And now you want to bring me there.
It was like that heart to heart that
didn't last very long.
No, it really didn't last long, but the conversation between the two was that mother-daughter, no, I didn't run away. I needed to find my own way. And
it was the mother-daughter who've been fighting forever.
Yeah.
Finally talking.
and that's the thing. You know, when you're watching this scene and you're watching the conversation going back and forth between the two, that's exactly what Kamala's mother is doing to Kamala, controlling her life, telling her what to do, so on and so forth. And this scene is kind of that pivotal moment for her mother to go, uh-oh, this is what I'm doing to Kamala. I can't believe I'm turning into my mother, or at least thinking that this is what my mother did to me, and I'm pushing Kamala away.
Right.
Light bulb. That's really what it was. Light bulb.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
So, you know, obviously they finished that heart to heart. And when it comes to the following day, Waleed is teaching Kamala how to use her powers effectively. So she's continuing her training with the bangle and learning more and more of what to do with the bangle and how to do it, so on and so forth. And again, red flag for me, she's supposed to be an inhuman. It's getting changed. Get it.
Well, and that takes me back to the conversation between Kamala and Nana when she first walked into, you know, they first went into the house and she went into the room that had all the paintings and the drawings and all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's asking Nana, you know, am I Jinn? What am I? Where did I come from? And all of that. And I liked what she said because she said, you know, she says, you're concentrating on the wrong thing. Doesn't matter if you're Jinn or whatever, you know, you need to concentrate on now.
Yeah.
You know, and so that took me back to that statement. I think what they're doing, because this is something you talked about in episode 1, that she's an inhuman.
Yes.
In the comic book, she's an inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just like they've been driving me nuts by giving me little freaking bits and pieces about that freaking bangle. I think they're kind of doing the same thing with you about giving you little bits and pieces about whether she's Jinn or inhuman or human or what.
Yeah.
I think just like they're working their way to the history of the bangle, they're working their way towards telling you whether she's an inhuman or not.
Yeah. And I'm hoping...
So they're kind of teasing both of us.
I'm hoping, it's just a hope, that they eventually correct whatever's going on.
We all have to have hope.
From there, the Red Daggers are attacked by the clandestines. So not only did they escape the Department of Damage Control, you know, the DODC, but now they found Kamala. She knows she's in Pakistan. They can trace the bangle, and now there's a wonderful, and I mean wonderful and much needed action sequence pertaining to car chases, motorcycle chases, fight scene, you name it. It's happening.
And I love the SWAT team entrance.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. I love
the freaking SWAT team entrance. Out of nowhere, 5 people through the freaking roof.
Yep.
You know, that was just, you know, as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, here we go.
It was good. It was good. With some of the things that they were doing, it was fantastic. You know, disconnecting one of the carts from the motorcycles and sending people flying. You know, it was a great action sequence.
Yeah,
it really was.
You've got a buggy running away from a buggy.
Yeah.
That is being followed by a freaking truck.
Yes. And I like that Kamala jumped from one of the vehicles into a truck, and then she starts driving away, but she crashes
like
into
driving
Salim just before she catches Kareem. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
And I love the repeat of the driving test.
Yes.
Where she, you know, okay, here we go. Boom, backwards.
whoop. Again, ties to the first episode, so it's working.
Yes.
Then, of course, Waleed and Najma are fighting, and Waleed takes a couple of daggers to him, I believe, and he goes over. Is he dead?
Oh, you're talking about when what's her name stabbed him in the back?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
he did fall one story.
He threw two daggers to take out the guy, the bald-headed guy that was coming up behind
Yes.
Kamala and the other guy.
Yes.
Because he had to turn his back on her in order to throw those, and when he did, she took advantage of it, and just like any other cowardly person,
stabbed him in the back. Right. And and Kareem and Kamala escape, which is great. They get into a store area, like one of those small market areas, and man, does a fight scene ensue. To the point where Najma is trying to stab Kamala, and she uses the bangle to deflect, only this time it transports her back to 1947 during partition, the night Aisha left.
Can I say one thing?
Which is the vision that they were seeing from the episode before.
Right. Can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
They ruined the fight scene for me.
Why?
The second fight scene. Ding!
What?
Superhero pose.
Oh, the superhero. Listen.
Superhero pose. By both of them. It's like, come on.
Come on. Well, think of it this way. You kind of need to have that superhero.
Yeah, I know they, you kind of got to do it, but it's like.
Like, really, guys?
Really? Come on. At least give me a different pose instead of, give me something else. Give me a.
Well, I mean, we're fighting, so.
A British soldier, whatever, just. Some variety in the superhero pose,
And if you guys don't know what the superhero pose that we're talking about is, you'll see it in a moment, because that's how I roll. This is the pose that JT is actually talking about right up in the corner there, where, they're ready to fight.
They could have even thrown a Spider-Man landing in there, Well,
you got to remember, Spider-Man's got his own superhero poses. And then, of course, you have Black Widow doing her superhero pose. And then, of course, you have her sister saying that she's a poser. So, again, leading
she
up
kind of
to...
is.
but again, it's leading up to the point of, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing
but
it.
You're right. They had to do it because they knew the threat was coming.
Yes. So
they had to get into fighting stance. And, I understand that, but it was still kind of, really? Just a little disappointing to me. That's all.
Like, just come on, man. Like, what the hell?
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. I do. I get it. I understand why, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a superhero pose, so I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I do too, but you know what? I can still bitch about it.
That is true. That is true. So all in all, Lori, Flower Chick, howdy. When I heard superhero pose, all I thought was Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I don't know why that popped into my head. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, look at the picture. You're not wrong.
Carol, you have a great night, my friend. Say hi to all your crochet buddies.
Goodbye. Come back soon. See you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.
It'll be great. So, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's there.
No, she's not.
It's there. It's that cheesy, hey, I'm ready to kick your ass type of pose.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. The cheesy freaking superhero pose. Something new.
See? It's the cheesy pose. But at the same time, I understand why, because they're backed in a corner.
Right.
So you You got to be like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm
We
sharp.
could have thrown the comedy factor and like had one of them facing the other way, you know.
Oh, like back to back?
Yeah, you know, ready to go, you know.
Well, I mean,
There was only one way they could come in, so no need for him to face the other way.
well, even looking at it, okay, if you're looking at it correctly, the pose itself, I mean, yes, technically they should be back to back, but he'd be looking at a wall.
Right.
So technically, the way they're standing is right because their backs are to the walls. So
it is.
So yay. So all in all, what do you give this episode? How many Bengals out of 5?
I've been fighting with myself, and I actually rewatched this episode before tonight, or before the show tonight, because you know it'd been a week since I'd seen it.
Yes,
we actually watched last week's on Wednesday.
What?
Well, we were bored.
Oh, okay.
So,
anticipation is crazy.
I'm gonna go with 3.5.
Okay.
I'm still kind of debating with myself. I'm gonna go with 3.5. One, because they finally had some fights.
Yes.
Okay, the 2 fights and the chase scene itself was a 3.
Okay.
Okay, between those 3 things, that in itself was a 3. You got 1 point for each one. You know, fight, 1 point.
Okay.
Chase, 1 point. Fight, 1 point.
All right. I can see. I see your logic here.
We got another tidbit, another teaser about the damn bangle.
This
I'm
is
telling
driving
you,
you
that
up
bangle,
a wall.
if they don't give me something by the end of the series, by the end of episode 6, my mind's going to explode. Because they give me tidbit and tidbit and tidbit and tidbit, and it's like, give it to me. But a lot of family interaction, old issues coming up, finding out, discovering more of the history of what's going on.
Yep.
Why Mama, not Grandma, but Mama doesn't seem to know anything about the bangle and its powers. That's the one thing that I've picked up on. It's like it missed out on a generation of that story being passed along. So now we're kind of finding out why. With
I'd
the
have
issues
to agree with
between
you
mom and daughter when she was younger. So, overall a good episode. It wasn't bad enough to be a sub 3 score.
Okay.
But it wasn't good enough to push me up to a 4 either. But it was still a good episode. I enjoyed the episode. I truly enjoyed the fact that we finally got some more fight scenes.
Yay.
Actually 4 fight scenes because we had the one in the jail.
That's true.
So
we did.
I'm going with 3.5 for this one.
Okay. All right. I got you. I'm the same 3.5 as well for
Totally
all the same reasons. The action sequences were really good. I will give it that. I would say this episode was faster than the other episodes were. So I'm right there with you. I'm going to say 3.5 as well. And that would obviously lead us into episode 5 of Ms. Marvel, which clearly takes place right after episode 4 back in 1947.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that you have to remember is that she, at the end of episode 4, she is standing on top of a train.
Yep.
Back in India in 1947,
Pakistan.
At the train station where these are the last trains.
Right, leaving. They're the last ones leaving during the partition. But the beginning of this episode goes back to 1942.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a certain Star-Spangled Avenger in 1942?
I think there might have been.
Maybe he's got this nice rounded shield with a star in blue and white on it and red, and it flies because he throws it.
Yes.
But he's not here.
Oh, you're
'cause he's
talking
in
about
Germany.
Captain America.
Uh-huh. But he's in Germany right now. So now
Took
we're
me a minute to
going.
get there, man. Sorry.
We're going back a little bit here, and we're seeing Aisha killing a British soldier. Obviously, the beginning of the episode, they're doing a lot of historical stuff about partition, the way England lost control, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of backstory for that, which, to be honest, I thought was really good. A really good history lesson, folks.
And it was too. It gave me a lot of background, even more background into the family that I didn't have before.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, as I was watching this episode at the beginning of it, I thought, and remember, I'm the dumb redneck here. I was thinking that as she's running and throws the knife and kills the soldier.
Yep.
I was thinking that was Bitch Lady when she was younger, because she kind of had that look.
Yeah.
But I discovered as we roll forward,
yes,
that it wasn't.
No, it was not. It was not her. As a matter of fact, it was her, Aisha.
Yes.
It's wonderful. See, isn't it nice?
The long lost mother.
I can show pictures. Isn't it wonderful? Because, I fixed stuff and made things a little bit more advanced. But as you can see, it's Aisha. She is one of the clandestines. She's a djinn. And she's got a certain bangle on her wrist. Uh-oh. Wait a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, JT. But weren't you waiting for something like this?
Yes, but I'm not going to get too excited because the way they've been doling it out so far, I'm going to get like 2 minutes of history and then we'll go back to the future.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get too excited yet.
Right. Well, so after she kills she's running from the British Army. She throws a dagger, kills a soldier. She's back in a village, not her village, but she sees kids playing cricket with a gentleman by the name of Hassan. And he's trying to reunite the people to rise up against the British rule. Okay, so this is before partition. This is during World War II, where obviously the British are losing control because they're in World War II.
Yep.
They're getting bombarded. They're getting attacked. They don't have any control over what's going on in their territories now.
They're getting their ass kicked is what they're getting.
Oh yeah, they are. So, British Army comes up to them, stops him from doing his propaganda. And it really is. It's propaganda on, hey, we need to, they're over there, we're over here. We should unite us and do what we need to do to get them away from us. And obviously the British are just like, hey, listen, knock it off. We're the cops here. Knock it off. Move on. Go home. Stop what you're doing. And so on and so forth. And Aisha is watching this from behind. She's watching this from the distance. And she actually gets to a point when she falls asleep under a tree. Good spot. Find a tree. Go to sleep. And
you got to find shade, man. You got to find a way to cool off.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Well, especially in India/Pakistan, because, and let's face it, Pakistan really wasn't huge. It was
hot as fuck.
Hot as hell. Hassan finds her, wakes her up, and offers her shelter, which she takes. And as they're sitting there, and Laurie's got to go, bye. Join us tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. Just saying. The Aisha is being questioned by Hassan. Where are you from? What's your name? So on and so forth. Blah 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 blah. And offers her food, and she takes it. She starts eating. Does what she normally does, and that's when she compliments him on his flowers, his roses. And then she says that her name is Aisha. And we fast forward a couple of months, and again, it's weird how they did this, because they didn't do a few months later. You know, they didn't do a few months later. They didn't throw anything.
Yeah, they didn't
there.
give you that time frame reference that they usually do.
And to me, as a filmmaker, I thought this was great, because it was a great reveal on what Aisha did with Hassan, taking up refuge in his house and then falling in love with him and having a baby. Where now we see her pregnant. We see her, giving Hassan an actual cane to use to walk with, because he was just using a regular stick. And then they have Sana, who is Kamala's grandmother. Yay. You would like to think this is going to be all cupcakes and rainbows. And then...
This can't happen that way. Not in a superhero movie.
No, definitely not. I'd have to agree with you. And again, it's one of those things where you kind of have to go with the flow a little bit with this episode, only because it's backstory. And I mean, it's backstory, because let's face it, if you don't have a backstory, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Well, and here I throw out the same complaint that I have thrown out before. Quit taking so damn long
to do backstory.
To give the backstory. You're 5 episodes in to a 6-episode series.
Yeah.
Kind of late. I mean, I'm glad I got it. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that I'm finally getting the freaking information about this damn bangle.
For the
Why
most
did you
part,
take
anyway.
4.5 episodes to get it to me?
For the most part, you're getting the answers. Obviously, here's one of the pictures that you can see right now. It's with Aisha, Hassan, and now Sana, the grandmother of Kamala. Clearly, we're not at that point in time just yet, because she's young. And I mean, I would say she was probably like 2 or 3 in this picture.
3, 4.
3 or 4, give or take,
Yeah.
But they're all
somewhere
living in
between
the
2
same
and 4,
village and whatnot, and it even gets to the point where, one of their friends, Rohan, sounds so much like Lord of the Rings, but hey, it works. With Rohan, he comes in and brings them groceries. Brings milk, vegetables, because apparently they're getting shunned. They're shunned upon. They're not 100% welcome.
You're feeding into the lines that they're saying.
Yeah. And when Rohan finally leaves because Hassan doesn't want the charity, basically kicks him out in not so nice ways, we see Najma. Najma found Aisha. Because Aisha had been in hiding. We know she's been in hiding. She's been in this village the entire time. She fell in love. She had a baby.
See, you got to figure it's probably been, time frame wise, it's probably been 5 years. 4 or 5 years, somewhere in that time frame, because
probably like
the Exodus thing happened in what, 47?
Yeah, now it's 47. Yeah, so 5 years.
Oh,
so
4 or 5 years, somewhere in that time frame.
But again, and that's why I thought this was really good the way they did this is with the transitions from scene to scene. They didn't do that. They didn't give you, hey, 5 years later, you know?
Right.
So I thought that was an interesting take, and it was a good risk that worked. It was
Yes,
a very
it did
good
in
risk
this
that
case.
worked. And Aisha wants the bangle, clearly. Not Aisha, sorry, Najma. Wow.
I was about to call you on that.
Gonna have to clip that one.
Well, and the neat thing was that, and we kind of glossed over this, but the night before they start heading to the train, she showed up.
Well, this is the part.
Okay, so you're not at the train.
We're not at the train yet. Okay. We're not at the train yet.
Gotcha.
We're at the part where Najma just is outside and Aisha finds her and sees her.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be soldiers.
Tree. And they go out and they have a little chat.
A little chitty chat.
Yeah, and Najma and Aisha hug. They embrace. They're family.
I wish it was more of an embrace. I wouldn't say it was really a hug.
It was a. What are you doing here?
Hey, how you doing? Where the fuck you been? One of those, like girlfriend and ex-girlfriends and boyfriends meeting up somewhere just by pure chance, and you're trying to be sociable.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and Najma basically tells her, "Listen, we're going. We're leaving. We need you. We need to open up the portal. We need to open up the gateway. We need to get home." And
you have the bangle. We're going tomorrow night.
Yes. And it's going to happen with or without you. And that's when the threat pretty much came in. The threat of, we'll be back. And if you're not here,
we will find you.
Hit the fan. Yeah. So
I've been sent to the ends of the earth
to find you.
Sorry.
Kill you. So this makes Aisha want to leave, clearly. And basically because she wants to protect Hassan and Sana. And rightfully so. That's one of those things where you have to choose.
Yeah. Well, and the timing was good. The timing of this happening was really good because it just so happened that you have this giant exodus that was going on when this confrontation happens.
Yes.
And she tells her, you've got till tomorrow. Because she told her, she says, I buried it. It's going to take me a while to find it. And, she pulled the Gibbs move on her and says, you've got till tomorrow.
Right.
And so she's able to use the exodus and everything as an excuse. But as we get into getting into the train station and the husband, he's like me. He has a hard time walking.
Yes.
And he breaks out because she's trying to push him along, get him to come along and everything else. And he stops and goes, what are we really running from?
Yeah.
I love that he asked that question.
Yeah. And
I love the fact that he asked that question because that tells me that he knew something was going on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This whole time. All 5 years, there's been something going on.
Absolutely. And that's when she tells him the truth. Here's the truth about the bangle. Here's the truth about,
and showed him.
Yeah. Showed him everything. And even got to the point where, hey, by the way, here's this woman, Najma, and she's coming after me. And I'm trying to protect you. So she goes through everything in this train yard. And it's more along the lines of, he didn't give up on her, which was great. That's his wife. That's the mother of his child. So why should he give up on her,
And the question was asked, why did you never ask?
Yeah.
And he's like, because I didn't care.
Yeah.
I love you and our daughter. So it didn't matter what the
matter.
past was.
Yeah.
What matters is now.
Which, in this case, Aisha sees Najma in the distance, gives Sana to Hassan, and says, "Go.
Go.
Get on that train. Go.
And make sure that you get my daughter on that train."
Get on that train." And as they're going through the crowd, shit kind of hits the fan. Which we knew it would. We knew it would. Because now Najma gets to the point where she stabs Aisha, walks away, and Hassan is getting the train, but he lost Sana. She's gone. And he's trying to find her. He's calling out to her. Aisha is literally bleeding out on the side of the train. And she uses the bangle to set a purple flare up. And
this is where it got really cool.
Yeah.
This is where 1947 and 2022 meet.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden there's Kamala.
Yeah, because she saw the flare.
And Kamala is looking, and she's walking through the crowd, and she's looking, and she sees Anisha.
Yep. Oh,
she goes over to her, and she's freaking out. What can I do to help? Blah, blah, blah. And then she hands her the picture.
Yes.
She gives Kamala the picture, and that is huge.
Yeah, because that was the picture that her grandmother had lost.
That was the picture of her dad, her mom, and her.
Yep.
Because if you think back to the beginning of episode 4, where she's in the room with all the pictures and everything, she shows Kamala a picture.
That was hand drawn.
No.
Right?
But before she shows her the hand drawn or the hand painted picture of what she can remember of her mother, she showed her another photograph. And it's a photograph of her father and her.
Yes.
Without her mother.
That's right.
And that's the only photo that they had.
Yep.
And then she showed her the picture of the painting of her mother.
Yeah.
Of what she could remember of her mother. So this photograph is huge because it has all 3 of them in it.
And the coolest thing is, as she's lying there dying, and as she asks for help, she grabs the picture. Aisha says that she's okay because Kamala is there.
What? And this is a key phrase, and I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it until she was in the room, the Red Dagger room, and he saw the old guy saw the bangle and saw the inscriptions and said he never knew that there was an inscription on it.
Yeah.
And she asked him if he could translate, and it says, what is it? What you seek is seeking you.
Yes.
Or that which you seek is seeking you, or something along. I can't remember the exact wording now.
Yeah.
But that phrase is so important.
Oh, yeah.
And we find out why in about 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Which at the same time now, Kamala goes and finds Sana, picks her up, starts moving, they fall. And instead, what she does is she creates hard light so she can step up on it, just like she was when she was training how to walk.
Yeah, like when she was trying to save the boy in the tower.
Yep. And what she did was, instead of lifting her up, she got her to her father.
Jump.
Okay.
Yeah, she got her to jump on him, and she was doing that. And she got knocked over when she was making one.
Yep.
but the I can't think of the kid's name. What's the kid's name?
Oh, from the third episode or
Yeah, no, Nana, the baby.
Sana.
Sana. Sana somehow does something, and the platform, instead of disintegrating and going away, turned into the trail of stars
and butterflies
that led her right back to her father.
Yes. So
that
so she was
that what you're seeking is seeking you.
Yep. So she was controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it was Kamala that made it happen.
Right. And that's
crazy.
When Kamala realizes that the story that Sana told her during partition of being saved was, in fact, Kamala, because Kamala went, oh.
But you think about this now. Hey, think about this now. This all happened before Kamala was even a thought in her daddy's pants.
Yep.
So somehow or another, is it multiverses converging? You know, what is going on that somehow or another Kamala was the person that saved Sana by making the path of stars that led to her father?
I don't know, but something tells me
when she's 2 generations away from being born.
Well, and think of it this way.
That's crazy.
It's amazing what happens when, I don't know, a certain company called the TVA doesn't exist anymore because of everything happening in Loki. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Definitely a branch off of a timeline.
So after that's all said and done, everybody wakes up from the spell that happened from the previous episode and Kamala going back in time. And now we see that there's a rift opening in that store. And Najma says it's the veil. They can go home if they go through it. At the same time, Kamala's mother is worried about her, so she's trying to find her, and her cousins are like, why don't you just turn on GPS location on your daughter's phone, because that'll help you.
Why am I just now hearing about this?
Right. That was the greatest answer.
I love that. That is exactly what happens in 2022.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we get to the point where Farah touches the rift and she turns into
ashes.
But see, here's and this was my kind of revelation, because again, I've been bitching and complaining that she's not an Inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
She completely turned to charcoal stone first, then crumbled and became a skeleton, which just so happens to be what happened when you came in contact with the Terrigen Mist in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you were an Inhuman or not, you turned to stone and you died if you weren't an Inhuman. If you had that gene, you came out of the Terrigen cocoon with the powers that you were gifted as an Inhuman. So now I'm saying to myself, oh, maybe.
Again, you and me, same place on 2 different things.
And what was your revelation of that?
Mine was the story of the bangle.
Okay.
And the history behind the bangle and what happened. How did the bangle get to where it got to?
Sure. And you were like, yay, I got my answers.
I was like, fucking A.
Yay.
I was happy. Happier.
So now, at the same time, Kamala tells Najma not to go through it, because clearly you're going to die. And at the same time, she goes, you got to worry about Cameron. You have a son. Don't go through it. You have a son. And she says that she doesn't. He doesn't have a son. He made his choice, and she left him, and she tries to go through the portal and turns into a skeleton herself and dies. And at the same time, though, she yells out to Cameron, and
she yells his name out.
He hears it.
Well, because she said that she can close the portal.
Yes.
Because Kamala asked her, please help me close this portal so it doesn't destroy my world.
Yes.
And Najma says, I can close this portal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can do something or give something to my son.
Yes.
Which is why she calls his name out as she's touching the portal.
Yes. Which in turn gives him a hard light fist. Like he's ready to.
Green.
It kind of reminded me of Iron Fist a little bit, but we know it wasn't. We know it wasn't.
It was green.
No. Cameron.
Yeah, when the power hit him.
It wasn't Kareen.
No, I didn't say Kareen. I said it was green.
Well, yeah, that mist that you saw was green, yes. Mm-hmm. But for him, when he was able to form the fist, it was gold. It was like a gold yellow type of color. It was just a hard...
Oh, when he's with Bruno?
Before that.
Okay.
I must have
missed the gold fist.
He's not even with Bruno yet. So from there, the rift closes. Kamala's mother and grandmother show up, and Kamala, after she closed the rift, gives her grandmother the picture of the one that Aisha gave her. And before leaving, Kamala finds Kareem and tells her that, Waleed would be proud of her, for what she did. And
Kareem gives her the neckerchief,
yes,
the red dragon or red daggers.
So she is now a part of the Red Daggers, an honorary member, so to speak, if you think about it.
Basically. Well, think back in episode 4, she actually said, after he gave her the green vest, she actually said, does that mean I'm a Red Dagger now?
Yes. Well,
which if you weren't listening close, you could easily miss that.
Yes.
Because it was almost in the background.
Yeah. And at the same time, her mother finds Kamala's necklace.
Total attitude change.
Destroyed.
Did you notice?
Yeah, I did.
Total freaking attitude change from her mother.
Oh, yeah, completely
when her mother realizes that she's Purple Ice Lady. She's the one that, that saved the boy and all this other stuff back home.
Yeah, and
it's her kid.
But at the same time, she's also realizing exactly what she realized when she was talking with her mother, and that she didn't want her to grow up.
She realized that the stories weren't legend and bullshit.
Right. And when she finds Kamala's necklace on the ground completely destroyed, it's in an S-like symbol, which it's actually more like the lightning bolt that she wears on her outfit when she is Ms. Marvel. So it's got that
I was trying to figure out the significance of that.
Yeah. It actually does take the shape of that. So, and if you look at her costume later on, you'll see it.
Got the lightning bolt in it.
You'll see it looks like a lightning bolt, but it is more of an S-like figure. Right. And from there, back in the States, well, not even at the States. They're back at her grandmother's house first, and they're talking about the past troubles, and that she doesn't want to push her away, and then of course we cut to outside of the Circle Q, which is where Bruno lives, and Cameron sneaks up on Bruno. And
scares the shit out of him. That's what he does.
Pretty much scares the shit out of him.
But he's calling him Brian.
Yes, still calling him Brian, which is great. but he's asking him for help. And as he's asking him for help, he's also doing, he's looking over his shoulder, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's got the DODC on his back now. And he finally realizes that his name isn't Brian.
Right. I've been calling you Brian. I didn't even notice the 4 times that you called me Brian before now.
And he's apologizing to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when...
And Bruno's like, well, you can stay here tonight and then we'll figure out what to do tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's when we see a damage control drone going after Cameron outside of the window. It's ready to fire, and he uses that hard light that was given to him by his mother to attack it. And all of a sudden you just see a huge explosion.
Shit, well, the drone fired a rocket.
Yes.
Into the store. Yes,
it did, because when he hit it, the aiming was off, and boom, the store went up in smokes. Yep. And it
literally went up.
Yeah. And that was the end of the episode. I was kind of hoping they would kind of do a post-credit scene, but they didn't, clearly. And
they're being asses about the mid and post-credit scene.
Well, yes and no, only because it's a series. So I get it.
Limited they series. Had one in episode 1.
Yeah,
because that's when we saw the people from
the DODC. Yep.
Damage control.
Yep.
And that's the only one they've had.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I am. Because you can't be expected to have a mid-credits or post-credit scene after every single episode. Mostly because they are episodic stories. So they're going to lead into the next one no matter what. It's going to be the next day or so on and so forth. So I get it. Obviously, we might see one at the end of episode 6, which will air on Wednesday. But right now, it's okay. So, all in all, what do you give this episode?
Flip-flop. You first.
Me first. Okay, well, I'm going to give it a 4. And the only reason why I'm giving it a 4, aside from the final closing of the rift and everything, was the entire backstory with Aisha and the bangle. And how they tied it so well together. Honestly, I think this was one of those episodes that was very well tied together with the plot of the episode. Of going from the past and actually showing that Kamala is the one who did it, when Kamala had no idea it was going to be her. So clearly the time travel thing is a huge thing. And not only that, but it leads back toward Loki that if the TVA was around, something would have gotten reset. So, God damn it, Loki.
Right.
So I'm giving it a 4. What are you giving it?
I've been fighting with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Literally fighting with myself since 6:30 tonight. Which was when I watched 6:30 was about the time that the episode was done.
Right.
This is going to be one of the rare times that I go different than you, score-wise. Because you and I are usually on the same number.
Except for the last Marvel show, I was more than you.
Yeah. But normally we're like really, really close.
Yeah, because Moon Knight, you rated Moon Knight very low.
I mean, it was way outside of my spectrum and everything else.
It was.
Initially, I was going to give it a 4.5.
Whoa.
Initially. Because the fight scenes were awesome.
Sure.
The time travel was really, really fucking cool.
Very well done. Very well done.
And very well done. The timing on this episode was amazing. They finally got the timing on this episode was perfect. Chef
Yes.
Kiss perfect. Mwah. But I have a problem.
Ruh-roh.
And it's a big problem.
Oh boy.
And it's going to take my score from a 4.5, 3.5.
Ooh. Knocking it down 1. Please enlighten us.
I love the idea behind it,
Okay.
but I have a very, very hard time with, I don't want to say justifying, but with I guess grasping the idea of
Okay.
Kamala being the one that caused the stars that led her back to her father. I don't know why. I can't explain it. Reconciling. That's the word I've been looking for. I cannot. And I've been trying. I have been trying since the end of the episode. I have been trying since while I was rewatching episode 4.
Yep.
After watching episode 5. I cannot reconcile in my head, even outside on a fantasy level, I cannot reconcile that to make sense to me.
Okay.
How somebody who was 2, almost 3 generations away from even being a thought in the sperm in her daddy's wee-wee of being created can play such a major role. And here's why I have the issue, is because she plays such a major role in this timeline even happening. Because if she had no time traveled back, it never would have happened. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to reconcile that one little part.
So,
but that one little part is huge.
Yeah. So think of it this way.
And that's why it's taking so much off of that score.
Yeah. Think of it this way. Everything that happened in Avengers Endgame explains exactly why she was able to do what she was able to do.
I realize that. And like I said, I don't understand why I'm having such a hard time with reconciling it.
Right.
And I might be able to do it. Maybe it's just because I haven't had enough time to really sit down and notice how I say this. I haven't really had the time to sit down and not think about it.
Okay.
Make sense?
It does make sense, yes.
Because a lot of times you're trying to find something, you're trying to remember something or whatever. When you sit down and you don't think about it, when your mind gets distracted by other things, boom, light bulb.
Light bulb.
So, and maybe that's all it is. So I may come back and revise my score.
It's a possibility.
For episode 5. But right now, I got to leave it at 3.5.
All right. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So, with that...
Believe it or not, I don't want to.
Why not?
But I have to.
Eventually, everything will be fine. Eventually. Yeah. With that being said, that is this week's episode of Avenger Pretenders. We will be back next week for episode 6, the final episode of Ms. Marvel. And from there...
where do we go from here?
Well, from there, we got a couple of things coming up. In August, there's an animated series of I Am Groot. They're going to be shorts. I'm not 100% sure how or what they're going to be about, but we can probably do, podcast on that, I guess. Then, of course, we probably have a couple of weeks off because the next show isn't due out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
Ahsoka,
Well,
the Ahsoka television series, that doesn't start for a while now also.
I mean, maybe what we could do is sit down and watch all 4 episodes of Groot and then just do one show reviewing the whole thing.
Yeah, because let me see here.
I mean, we got to find out if it's going to be even going to be worth it, because, like you said, we don't really know what it's about.
Yeah,
other than it's about Groot.
So I Am Groot it's a collection of 5 original shorts starring Baby Groot as everyone's favorite little tree, and will feature several new and unusual characters. And Vin Diesel obviously returns for that. And then we also have She-Hulk. And She-Hulk, I don't think there's an actual date on She-Hulk yet.
She-Hulk female attorney.
So what?
I said She-Hulk female attorney.
Yes, attorney at law. She-Hulk, attorney at law. But I'm trying to find information on it, when it's going to be released.
17th.
Which one?
August 17th for attorney for She-Hulk.
So there you go. Well, we'll have a couple of weeks off where we can review I Am Groot, and then of course we'll have She-Hulk. So we got a couple of things in the works. For myself, I'm Sully. For JT, we will see you guys tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Sully Show. And yeah, we're just gonna have a grand old time. We're gonna take the night off for now. All right, sound like a plan? Sounds like a plan. We'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Accidental Punch TV for Avenger Pretenders. Bye, guys. And oh, by the way, we're gonna do a raid. Yay! We're gonna do a raid. We're gonna do a raid.
Really have enough people to do a raid?
It doesn't matter. We're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
Gonna do it anyway.
Oh, She-Hulk is a 10-episode show.
Ooh, it should be nice.
10 episodes. Longest series yet.
Let's go raid Sim Trisha. She's having fun. Later, people.